بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله والشكر لله، الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وارزقنا فهما. And welcome back to our program Hajj during the COVID-19 lessons to learn with me, Imam Shamsi Ali. In tonight's session, I would like to continue our discussion on the meanings of Hajj. And I mean every single act, every single ritual performance that we do during the Hajj has certain meanings and wisdom that we need to learn. In the last session, we talked about preparation. That Hajj is about preparing ourselves in three dimensional preparation. Number one is physical and material. Number two, knowledge preparation. And number three, it is about spiritual preparation. And those preparations are connected to our preparations to live our life here in this world. And the correlation is this, because Hajj is about journey, and this life also is about journey. So both are journeys. So Hajj basically is a small representation of that life journey. Tonight I'm going to begin to talk about the pillars of Hajj. As you may know that there are some pillars that must be fulfilled, called Arkanul Hajj. And Arkanul Hajj, we talk about Ihram, we talk about Al-Wuquf bi Arafah, it's about Tawaf, As-Sa'i, and of course Jamarat and others. All these are among the pillars of Hajj. So I'd like to talk about the meanings of those, or every single one of those arkan, one of those pillars. And we begin from Ihram itself. The word Ihram, Ahrama yuhrimu Ihram, it comes from the word haram, and it's been something to sanctify, a sanctity, an honor, a dignity, something that we respect. As you know, as you call Al-Masjid al-Haram, it means the sanctified mosque. So Al-Ihram basically is the beginning of that sanctity, the beginning of that purity, the beginning of that, if you may say, holiness. Now, why Ihram, or the niyat of Hajj or Umrah, is called Ihram? Because once again, this is the representation of human sanctity, human purity. And as Hajj is a journey, it's about safar, from one place going to different places and coming back again. Our life is also about journey. Now, when Hajj is began with Ihram, and as we know that Ihram must be begun with certain point, there are 5 miqat that every Hajj should take into consideration. For those who are coming from, let's say, Indonesia, their Ihram will begin by Yalamlam, for example, if they come from different direction. If you come from Medina, then you have Bir Ali, for example. These are the miqat, the places where you have to begin your Ihram. But I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is why the niyat, the intention, the beginning of the intention to perform Hajj or Umrah is known as Ihram. Because once again, it's connected to the beginning of life. Every human being was created on the state of purity. فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. human nature, human purity, fitrat Allah. On that state of purity, every single human being is created. In other words, our creation is essentially, fundamentally pure. And therefore, we are born pure. Rasulullah ﷺ says, كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. That every single child is born on the state of that purity. And that purity is the beginning of our life journey. We came to this world with that purity. And that purity is the real preparation for us to begin that life journey. As Ihram is the beginning of that Hajj journey. So you see the correlation here? As the Hujjaj begin with Ihram, our life also begins with purity. And that is the human nature. That is the real essential human identity, that we are pure. We have that purity. It is very essential, and I call this very fundamental to know, because unfortunately there are some people see others are born sinner. That some people judge others that have been born with sin. And of course we Muslims reject that notion. That there is no human being is born sinner. Either you came from Hindu parents, or Buddhist parents, Christians, or Jewish, or any other backgrounds. If you are born, all of you are born on the state of purity. Kullu mawludin. It's not only from the Muslim parents, but kullu mawludin yuladu ala al-fitra. And that fitra basically gives us an immense optimism that we humanity, human beings, are the most respected and honorable creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we are the only creations being born, and they said, in the state of purity. So this is the first pillars of Hajj and its relation to our life in general. The second one is about tawaf. Tawaf simply means circling around Kaaba al-Musharrafa. And every requirement of prayer is also required during the tawaf. So you cannot do tawaf without wudu, for example, because this is on the state of purity. But I'm not going to talk about the fiqh perspective, how to do tawaf, what to recite, because those can be read, can be learned from the books of fiqh. What I'm going to talk here, brothers and sisters, is what does it mean to be tawaf? Tawaf, once again, is going around the Kaaba. It's about circling around the Kaaba. Now, what is the meaning of circle? It means moving. And that itself is the representation of human's life that constantly moving. Everything in life is about moving. وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم إلى آخره. In Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about that this universe, galaxies, suns, stars, moons, every single thing in this universe moving around, like as-sibaha, like swimming. You know, وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. The word yasbah, as-sibaha, means swimming. In other words, that every single, part of this universe is moving around. Just like when you are in the middle of the water and you don't swim, you're going to be drowned. Similarly, this life requires movement. And when we talk about movement, we are talking about changes. And therefore, the Holy Quran anticipates the Muslim to constantly anticipate the changes. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not changing the circumstances of any qawm until that qawm change themselves. In other words, that we have to anticipate change, and we must be the one who influence, drive the changes that happens in our life, not to be driven by the changes. So again, tawaf means circling. But one thing that we have to remember during the circle, that while we are moving around, don't forget that Kaaba must be always in the center of that circle. So you cannot get away. You have to make Kaaba as the center. Now, what does it mean for us in our real life? It means that while we are moving in this life and changes happen, moving from Bangladesh to America, moving from America to Latin America, from Latin America to Africa, for example, you're just moving around in this life. Not only moving physically, but also the situation of your mental state. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are not happy. Sometimes we are, whatever it might be. We are healthy, sometimes we are sick. Sometimes we are poor, sometimes we are rich. This is about movements. It's all movements in life. But in the midst of all these movements, one thing we have to remember is about Kaaba is in the middle. And what is Kaaba? It is the representation of the holiness. It is the representation of the greatness of the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so when we are circling around Kaaba, and Kaaba must be in the middle, it means that as we are circling around the life, changing from time to time, from one place to another place, don't forget, Allah must be the center of our human's life. So you are in Bangladesh, Allah is there. You are in America, Allah is there. You are in Asia, Allah is there. You are in Europe, Allah is there. You are rich, Allah is there. You are poor, Allah is there. You are healthy, Allah is there. You are sick, Allah is there. Allah will never be anywhere. Allah is always there. And therefore, my brothers and sisters, Tawaf is teaching us to be always taking Allah as the center of our life. And that is the meaning of La ilaha illallah. When you say La ilaha illallah, there is no God worthy of worship. Means that no matter what happens in life, Allah is always the object of our worship. We are doing business for Allah. We are eating for Allah. Bismillah. We are learning. Bismillah. Everything. We are sleeping. Bismillah. Allah must be the center of our life. And that is the meaning of Tawaf, my brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to guide us and strengthen us. May Allah accept our intention to perform Hajj, even though we don't perform Hajj, but Allah accept our intention, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.